All eyes have been on Anthony Black for the last 24 plus hours after the missed free throws against the Houston Rockets. They've been on him the entire season. Today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is November 18th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic go as Anthony Black goes. Why the missed free throw was a symptom of a larger problem the Magic are facing and the biggest bet the Magic have made this season. We'll get to that. Plus the Tyus Jones disappointment and why the bench is making us already think about trade season. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right re-upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies, one of our everydayers. That means you listen 5 days a week. That means you listen after games, after weekend games. Watch our shorts. Go on YouTube. Do it all. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, whether you were your first listen, whether you were part of your rotation, whenever you listen to us. We truly appreciate it. We also truly appreciate you helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. There were a lot of bets the Orlando Magic made this year. And I hope during the summer we reached and talked about a lot of these bets. And a lot of these things that we're uncertain about this team. This isn't an argument that the Magic shouldn't have gone all in to make the trade for Desmond Bane. And again, the jury may still be out on that. But now that things have settled down a little bit, that deal is looking pretty good for Orlando and seems to have the Magic in the right space and moving in the right direction. But one of the major bets the Magic made was how much they sort of gutted their bench and put a lot more pressure on young players who, not that they hadn't been playing, but hadn't been playing at a higher level, hadn't stepped up and said, and shown to us unequivocally that they are ready to help contribute to a championship team. And no player had more pressure on him to deliver, to grow, to take that next step than Anthony Black. This episode is certainly inspired by what we saw Sunday night. Because Sunday night, we saw how brilliant Anthony Black can be. There are very few players who could help bother Kevin Durant enough to go get that steal and make that play that should have delivered the Magic a 3-point lead and should have delivered them a humongous road victory. This should be a podcast speaking so highly of Anthony Black. Because if I'm not mistaken, he also had a role in the steal that set up the Desmond Bane 3 against Portland on the second night of a back-to-back. Anthony Black is this humongous vessel of potential. It's just he's got so much potential. There's no reason you shouldn't trust him. And again, he is having a career season. I want to give him the credit. 11.1 points per game. He's a regular player, 26.4 minutes per game. He's shooting 46.3% on 8.8 field goal attempts. That's a career high in field goal attempts. Just a smidge below his career high from his rookie season when he took only 4 shots per game, 3.6 field goal attempts per game. He's shooting 56.8% on 2-pointers. He's showing more confidence attacking the basket. That dunk that he had in transition was incredible. He's one of the best transition finishers on a team that is dominating teams in transition. There is a lot to like about Anthony Black. But then he does things like missing that free throw. He's shooting just 68.4% from the line this season. There are all these little inconsistent things. And again, I'm not putting the loss on Anthony Black. Like, yes, that missed free throw was huge. The Magic still had a chance to get a stop. Brilliant play by Ime Udoka. They missed 8 free throws in the game. Anthony Black's was just one of them. As the last 2-minute report revealed, Franz Wagner should have been at the foul line with the Magic down by 1, thanks to a foul by Jabari Smith Jr. You can pick any one thing you want. It's an overtime game. You can pick any one thing you want. It is accumulation of all things. But as I tried to explain to people who were downtrodden and distraught over that miss, a lot of the Magic's problems in that game on Sunday were just symptoms of the bigger issues that this team faces. Their offense disappears for long stretches, as improved as it is, and it is better. The Magic's offense, especially without Paolo Banchero right now, the Magic's offense can go very stale for very long periods, and we're going to be dealing and questioning that for a long time. The Magic did a good job on turnovers, but there were some key turnovers in that game. The Magic missed free throws. It's been a constant story all season. The rebounding has been suspect. And yes, the Rockets are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in league history so far. And certainly last year they were as well. These little plays all added up and have added up over the course of the season. But no player seems to be as up and down as Anthony Black. For the second straight year, no stat correlates to the Magic winning more than Anthony Black's three-point shooting. He's shooting 30.6% from 3 this season. In wins, he's shooting 10 for 24. 41.7% from 3 in wins. In losses, he's shooting 5 for 25. 20%. He was 1 for 5 in the game on Sunday. Essentially, if Anthony Black makes his threes, if he's 2 for 5, just 2 for 5, and again, one game, one shot, it's an overtime game. If he's just 2 for 5 instead of 1 for 5, it is a huge difference in everything the Magic are trying to do, because the Rockets put Alperen Şengün on Anthony Black. They were hiding one of their weakest defenders, letting him roam defensively. When the Magic play the Warriors, do not be shocked if they are hiding Draymond Green so he can roam and keep the Magic out of the paint. Anthony Black making threes is a critical thing that the Magic need if they want to be a championship level team. Fair or not, and again, it's just correlation, it's not causation. Anthony Black has shot well in losses, he shot poorly in wins. It's a correlation. But this is the ultimate thing. This is what can be so frustrating and why there is still so much promise to Anthony Black. I don't think the Magic should give up on him. But we're also getting to a point where the Magic need something more. And the Magic were there this summer, and it was one of the bigger questions is Anthony Black ready to step into this bigger role? Is he ready to be the spot starter as he has been this season? Magic now 2-2 in games without Jalen Suggs. They're 2-1, I believe, when Anthony Black is the starter. Is he ready to take on this responsibility? Is he ready to contribute at the level the Magic need him at? Now, look, hopefully Jalen Suggs is healthy and Anthony Black's coming off the bench, and that might be a little bit more advantageous for him. But the Magic go as Anthony Black goes in so many ways. He is a swing talent. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you Anthony Black doesn't have the talent. Anthony Black can do anything on the court. He is an excellent defender for a player his age, although he's struggled a little bit this year, taking a little bit step back from previous years. He is an excellent and disruptive defender with his size and his speed. He has gotten better at attacking the basket. A lot of credit appears to be going to God Shammgod for working with him on his dribbling and his ability to track the basket. He is still an incredibly young 21 years old. He'll turn 22 in January, while the team, I believe, is in Germany. He'll turn 22 in January. This is not a player you give up on. And we're going to get to some trade thoughts. The deadline, just like last year, is going to come down to the Magic's opinion of Anthony Black. And yeah, I think there is a big problem coming, because I don't know what you pay Anthony Black as an extension. He's extension eligible this summer. Those are future issues. And I'm going to provide some trade deadline thoughts here because we are thinking about it already a little bit. But Anthony Black is still so central to this team's potential. If he's aggressive, if he's finishing at the rim, if he's making threes, the Magic suddenly become I would say championship level team, but they're much closer to that level. If he's not, if he's tentative, if he's not aggressive, if he's standing around, if he's not making those open threes defenses want to give him, then the Magic become very pedestrian. Anthony Black is huge. And yes, he's still very, very young. He is making some mistakes right now that he probably needed to make in his first 2 years in the league. But the Magic are going to go where AB takes them. Or how AB plays is going to determine this team's ceiling. And that just might be the reality that the Magic are searching for right now is consistency from their young player. The pressure on Anthony Black might be greater because the Magic are not getting enough from a veteran player. We'll talk about where Tyus Jones is struggling and why there's still a little bit of hope. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier. But now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. Learn more again at Rippling, RIPPLING.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action than with Prize Picks and right now. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I have found Prize Picks to be the best daily fantasy game that I have played. Not only does it feel like you have a real chance of winning, you play other daily fantasy games, you're in these giant player pools, the scoring is confusing, and frankly, you're just happy to get your money back. And even then, that feels like a win. No one wants that. No one wants to just be happy to get their money back. They want to win. With Prize Picks, all you do is predict the stats, more or less. And with your player group, you don't even have to get them all right to win. You win bigger if you do, but you can get your money back pretty easily by getting, I think, like 3 out of 5 right. It's a pretty fun time, and it's super, super easy to do. And with the stacks, you can now pick more on one player's stats within a game. So if you want to say that the Magic are going to hold Stephen Curry under his scoring average, under his three-pointers made, under his assists, you can have that faith in the Magic defense and get it done. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves your lineup from a loss. So you would have been penalized for Paolo Banchero leaving in the first half of last week's game in New York. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day. And thank you again for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Anthony Black has been under a lot of pressure, and some of it is good pressure. Let's make that clear. That Anthony Black having these expectations, having to meet expectations, that is a good thing. And again, we're 14 games into a long season. We got 82 games, so there are still 68 games left. Long way to go. Long way to go. I want to repeat that. Long way to go. And so that pressure is going to keep building, but I do think AB's gotten better and has been getting better through the course of the season. So we'll see where AB is in February and where he is at the end of the season and whether the Magic's faith in him is restored and is certainly rewarded as well. The pressure, though, was even greater because the player the Magic got to help with point guard stuff, the player the Magic got to play off of Anthony Black's driving and be a reliable shooter, to be the stabilizer for this group, is really struggling. And so before, I don't know if everyone jumped on me in the comments. I thought Tyus Jones was fine on Sunday. The Magic were +2 in his minutes in the fourth quarter on Sunday. He did not hurt the team on Sunday. But Tyus Jones has not delivered what's been promised. We could go into advanced stats. We could go into simple stats. It's not good. And no play exemplified this more than that block in the second quarter when Jones got a run out, a free layup, and was just moving just slow enough to let Kevin Durant come and block the shot, led directly to a Reed Shepherd 3. Now, again, Jones was on the floor when the Magic put together their 7-0 run and built an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter. Again, by the time he left, their Magic were only up 4. So say what you want about it. Tyus Jones isn't giving the Magic what they signed up for. He's gone scoreless in the last 7 games. He's averaging only 1.4 points per game, by far the fewest in his career. He's shooting only 25.7% from the floor and just 10.5% from 3, 2 for 19. That's a career 37.5% three-point shooter. So a guy that the Magic, again, stop me if you've heard this before. A guy the Magic brought in for his three-point shooting is bricking threes. Bricking them. Even when they're open. Now, some of this is that he's getting less opportunity. Some of this is he's not on the ball as much. The Magic's offense isn't necessarily designed kind of for a point guard to dominate the ball. And that might just be how Tyus needs to play. And in that case, that is a massive miscalculation on Jeff Weltman's part. Now, again, 1 year, $8 million contract. Hard cap the Magic this year. That's the only bad part about it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You move on, fill the salary slot, sign someone else. And again, you'll have an opportunity. We'll talk some deadline stuff here in a minute. Jamal Mosley's been quick to point out that with Tyus Jones, it's not about scoring all the time. And I do agree with him. He's out there to stabilize the team. He's out there to direct. He's out there to be a point guard. And that's why, even though he took one shot, missed it, and didn't score, I thought he was really important to the Magic in that fourth quarter. Against Houston's zone, I thought he did a really good job pulling them in his direction and feeding the ball to Franz Wagner to get him the ball going downhill and put the Magic in a position where they can beat that defense. I thought Tyus played well against Houston for the most part in the fourth quarter, not in the second quarter. Fourth quarter, he was great. But it's very, very clear he's not providing kind of the stability the Magic want. Orlando signed him to be an assist-to-turnover machine, assist-to-turnover ratio machine. And look, 1.4 assists per game against 0.4 turnovers per game. He's not playing enough. His minutes are starting to get crunched down. For whatever you want to say about him, the Magic are decreasing his minutes. They do notice and they do realize he is not delivered. But per 36 minutes, Jones is averaging 4 assists per 36 minutes against 1 turnover per 36 minutes. Fewest assists per 36 minutes in his career, by the way. Per 100 possessions, he's averaging 5.4 assists against 1.3 turnovers per 100 possessions. Fewest assists he's had per 100 possessions, but also the fewest turnovers per 100 possessions. The on-off numbers aren't any better. Orlando is a 116.2 defensive rating with Jones on the floor. Among regular rotation players, only Anthony Black's is worse. But when Black is on the floor and Jones is off, the Magic have a 115.3 defensive rating, according to Data Baller. The Magic have a 138.6 defensive rating when the two backup guards share the floor. That is a problem. It's one of the major problems, in fact. The Magic can't have Black and Jones together because of offensive issues, but also apparently because of defensive issues. And again, it speaks to how poor the Magic's bench is. We're going to get to that here in a minute. Even offensively, Jones isn't helping. The Magic, obviously, I went through his individual numbers, but the Magic have only a 96.5 offensive rating with Tyus Jones on the floor. And only Jonathan Isaac, who is just an offensive black hole. Good offense, just gets sucked into the vortex there. Past the event horizon, 91.8 with Isaac on the floor. Again, Jones and Isaac share the floor a lot, so it's a little bit of both. The fact of the matter is you do expect, and this has been the case throughout Tyus Jones' career, you do expect your offense to improve if you have a stabilizing point guard on the floor. And that simply has not happened. Now, there are extenuating circumstances. We're going to talk about the bench here in our third segment. But very, very clearly, Jones is touching the ball a lot less. He's being used more off the ball. He's kind of being hidden. He's not impacting games. Not in the way the Magic assumed he would, and not in the way the Magic hoped he would. I get why Tyus Jones is still playing. At the end of the day, the Magic are betting that a veteran is going to figure things out. That this is some weird 14-game outlier. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season, so I don't know if we could call an outlier quite anymore. But for a guy who throughout his career has been a reliable three-point shooter and widely considered the best backup point guard in the league, even last season with Phoenix, I get that they believe this is a blip. I get that they believe that this is something that is going to pass, that it's just about getting everybody healthy. I'd love to see Tyus Jones and Mo Wagner play pick and roll. Goga's not the same as Mo Wagner. I would love to see those two play pick and roll. But when Tyus does get the opportunity to do the things that he's supposed to be really good at, his floater, his three-point shooting, he's not delivering. Whatever's in the water in Orlando that prevents people from shooting well, it's hit Tyus Jones hard. And fans are right to be curious. When does Jace Richardson get his chance? When do you turn to the rookie? Now, again, this is a matter of trust. The Magic trust Tyus Jones. They know who he is as a player, and they trust that his level, that he'll find his level, and that level's pretty good. They don't trust a rookie. It's hard to trust rookies. And this is not to say that the Magic shouldn't try. Friday night should have been a good opportunity to get Jace some run. Friday night against a bad Brooklyn Nets team. Again, the pressure defense, so maybe it wouldn't have been. Obviously, the Magic needed every point they could get, so maybe that would have cost them the game. But the Magic should be looking for a spot to give Jace a chance, to get Jace some run and just see if it works. Just get some data on it. You know, I was talking to some friends today about this, and you know, everyone asked me about it, and I'll share what I shared with them. I am very hesitant to call outright that someone should start over someone else or someone should play over someone else. Because I recognize, and this is again I've covered this team since 2012. I recognize the coach has a lot more information than I do. Now, like if Jace Richardson comes in tomorrow, scores 10 points and holds his own on defense and then doesn't play, I'll be with all of you saying like, okay, Jace has clearly earned some playing time. He did good things. Give him the opportunity. Let's build some rapport. Let's see if this is something that lasts or see if it was indeed a flash in the pan. But I get the hesitance because we know how good Tyus Jones can be. And quite simply, he just hasn't delivered. And so, yeah, the question needs to be asked or needs to be considered. Again, I don't think I would ask Mose directly about that. I don't think that's, again, he has more information than I do. And I can acknowledge that. But if they're not at least talking about it and developing a plan of like, okay, when do we need to give this a try? Or what do we see? Are we seeing enough in practice to give this a try? Because again, we're working on incomplete information. Tyus Jones could be tearing up Jace in practice for all we know. I do think you got to give the rookie a shot, and rookies need playing time. So give him a crack. Find a 2-game pocket to give him a look. If Tyus is hurt in any way, give him a look. But it's been rough, and there's no hiding from that anymore. Just like there's no hiding from the fact that the Magic's bench has been terrible. We'll get to that and why that has us thinking about some early trade thoughts coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, but every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your personal record, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools. Or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney, your move. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress, I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's all about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit Rugiet, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's Rugiet, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. We've talked already about how the Orlando Magic's preferred starting lineup, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr., is currently the second or third best starting lineup in the league. I haven't looked at it in a while, and they haven't played very much, but that starting group has been stellar. One of the best groups in the entire league. So you got to ask yourself the question then, why are the Magic at 500? If the Magic have one of the best starting groups in the league, why can't they sustain it? And the answer is quite simply, one of the Magic's biggest superpowers is not delivering. We talked about the ups and downs the Magic have had with Anthony Black. We've talked about the struggles with Tyus Jones. And if you look at that Magic bench group, there's not a lot of points to be had. Tristan da Silva has been a true revelation and has been amazing. But that group is missing a major scoring punch. The Orlando Magic currently have the second worst scoring bench in the league. Orlando only averages 30.1 points per game off their bench. The Lakers are last at 24.2. The Cavs are 30.4. So you can win. The Lakers are 10-4. The Cavs are 9-5. The Wolves at 31.3 points per game off the bench are 8-5. The Suns are 34.1 points per game, are 8-6. The Pistons are 11-2. Having a good starting lineup is really important. And the Magic have one of the best starting lineups in the league. They're going to win a lot of games because of that as long as they're healthy. And the Magic will claim they have depth. But part of the formula for the Orlando Magic over the last few years has been the strength of their bench. They were the fourth highest scoring bench in the league in 2024. They were fifth before Mo Wagner's injury last year. They were 23rd after, and obviously injuries decimated their ability to score off the bench last season. To say the least, it really does feel like a big key for the Magic is to improve their scoring depth. And that's why the disappointment of Tyus Jones and Tyus not being a regular scorer, like even 4 or 5 points per game. And I think we expected 6, 7, but even 4 or 5 points per game dramatically changes things. 4 or 5 points per game, 35 points per game puts them at 22nd in the league in bench scoring, which not great, but more than enough to supplement a really strong starting lineup. That's what we're talking about, just doing enough to supplement a strong starting lineup, especially if the Magic are able to mix and match. And right now, the Magic are obviously hurt. Paolo's out. Jalen Suggs remains questionable for Tuesday's game. It's stretching this team a little thin. And so February is a long way away. And a lot's going to happen between now and February. Team's going to settle in. They're going to find their rotations. They're going to get better at their offense. They're going to get better at things as they have already this season. They're going to continue to peak. But I think it's pretty clear the Magic do need to already be considering and listing out what they need to do at the trade deadline. Now, look, we're not even in trade season yet. December 15th is when the doors open to trade season. That's when players who signed contracts over the summer can be traded. So the official opening of trade season is still a month away. But we've already seen reports that the Sacramento Kings are looking to do a complete teardown. We are expecting that the Dallas Mavericks, after firing Nico Harrison, are going to sell off some pieces. The New Orleans Pelicans have fired their coach already. There's already plenty of... The rumor mill is not churning, but it is starting to spin. We're starting to see the gears begin to grind and the rust getting taken off the rumor mill. And the Magic have to be in the middle of it. This roster, as constructed, at least playing the way they are now, is not enough to accomplish the goals this team has this year. There have been miscalculations. There have been missed bets. Yes, the Magic are going to try and get under the tax. I think they will try and trade Jett Howard when we get there to try and decrease some payroll and get under the tax so they don't have to start that clock. But the Magic need to be hunting for some bench scoring. They need someone who can attack off the dribble more consistently off their bench. Be a little bit more of a playmaker so that they can ease some of the pressure and tension off their starters. This is kind of gonna be the deal because the Magic are already playing pretty heavy minutes. Now, it's not like crazy heavy. I'm not going to sit here and say that, but Franz Wagner's 10th in the league at 35.8 minutes per game. That dude is a tank. He ain't going anywhere. Paolo Banchero's 47th at 32.8 minutes per game. Desmond Bane is 50th at 32.5 minutes per game. The Magic have 3 players in the top 50 in minutes played in the league so far. Now, there might be a few others that are close too. Philadelphia's got the top two guys in minutes in Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. The Lakers, Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are both in the top 10. It's Alperen Sengun and Kevin Durant also in the top 10. So that's not the be-all, end-all. But we got a long marathon ahead. You're going to need everybody on your roster. I say that all the time. You're going to need everybody on your roster at some point. The Magic's bench has been a problem. And it's not just, we've gone over the Suggs numbers. When Suggs is off the floor with any lineup, their defense craters and the offense slows down. Like, the Magic have a perfect starting lineup. I'll look up the lineup numbers here right now. The Magic have a perfect starting lineup. Just literally a perfect starting lineup among lineups that have played at least 75 minutes together. Among the lineups that played at least 75 minutes together, the Magic starting lineup in 101 minutes is the best lineup in the league. Second is the lineup the Magic faced last night: Durant, Okogie, Sengun, Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson with the Houston Rockets. 75 minutes. We can drop that down to 60, and it's still the second best lineup in the league. Then the Timberwolves starting lineup passes them. We could drop that down to 50. That gets us into some other specialized lineups. It's still the 4th best lineup in the league by net rating, a 19.7 net rating, 122.4 offensive rating, 102.6 defensive rating. That is a championship level lineup. And everything the Magic are doing has to be to support that lineup, to give that lineup to maintain leads so that lineup can keep crushing people. By the way, among the lineups that have played at least 50 minutes together, fifth is tomorrow's lineup, the Golden State Warriors, 119.7 offensive rating, 102.8 defensive rating. So gonna be a battle. No Paolo again. Gonna be a battle on Tuesday. Orlando's getting more from Anthony Black. They're getting plenty from Tristan da Silva. They'll get Mo Wagner back. And again, Mo Wagner falls out of bed, scores 10 points. That's going to boost this team immeasurably. But if the bench continues to struggle, if the bench continues to be unable to support the Magic offensively like they have for most of the season, Orlando's going to have to hunt for some players. Now, it is too early to talk which players. There are some obvious ones. If Sacramento's truly selling, the Magic have always been kind of interested in Malik Monk, and I think he'd be very good for this team. A lot of Magic fans want Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder's good for every other team that he plays for. Don't love his contract right now, but Dennis Schroeder would be a solid pickup for this Magic team. Absolutely would love Dennis Schroeder on this team now that I'm looking at them and seeing how they play. If we're going to stay with Sacramento, Keon Ellis would be pretty nice too. There are going to be avenues, but as always, it's never the obvious thing. It's very, very rarely the obvious thing. There's always something, and there is, again, a long way till February. But the Magic are going to have to be active. This team is incomplete. This team isn't what they want to be. And while I agree they need to continue coming together, we need to give them the chance to find themselves. There's a real easy stretch in the schedule from December to Martin Luther King Day, from Christmas to Martin Luther King Day. That's when the Magic are going to make their big move up the standings. Like, book it, mark it down now. We'll talk more about it when we get closer to it. From Christmas to Martin Luther King Day, the Magic are going to make a push. Just like this stretch, 7 of 9 at home, concluding with these 3 home games, the Magic were going to make a big push. And the Magic are, let me do my math here real fast. Sorry about this. The Magic so far on this 7 of 9 at home. So, again, these last 6 games. The Magic are 4-2. Sweep these 3 home games, you're 7-2. Even 2-1 puts you at 6-3. That's a really good job. That's doing some work before you head into the NBA Cup games and then head out west. And when you get home from going out west, that's when the schedule lightens up a lot. You get your Indiana, get your first crack at Indiana, you get a Washington game, you get a Brooklyn game, you get a New Orleans game, you get your 2 Memphis games. The Magic are going to make their push. But by the time they get to the end of that stretch, they're going to need to know, this is what we need to compete. And I'm telling you right now, it is very, very clear the Magic need another guard who can attack off the dribble, and they need more scoring off their bench. How they get that, who that is, we'll save that discussion for the next 3 months. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them. You download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. You can also check out the podcast on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic. For even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day, go check out the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, all part of Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the Magic's game against the Golden State Warriors. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.